Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome to The Next Normal. I'm your host, Sister Jenna, broadcasting from the beautiful Brahma Kumaris Meditation Museum. If you're ever in the nation's capital, stop by. Take a moment of Zen, a moment of peace. Boy, do we need it. It's not like we're going through anything new, but it's amplified. It's kind of like you might have a problem in your personal home, but if you're a superstar, the whole world knows what's going on in your personal home. We're at that stage where the whole world feels a little bit unsettled. Certain groups and certain societies, I think they might be celebrating, maybe those who are on the other side of wealth and abundance, and maybe just not really thinking about the future generations. But for folks like me and you who just care way too much, we either care too much for our neighbors or we care a lot for the earth. Boy, are we feeling a lot that's going on inside. Today we have a really, really special show for you on The Next Normal. I have my wonderful brother and friend for over 30-something years, the great Golo Pilz. He lives in Mount Abu, India, at the headquarters of the Brahma Kumaris. And one of the beautiful things about his journey is that from his practice of meditation, from his practice of learning with the Brahma Kumaris Raj Yoga, within him the soul, the part emerged to actually begin to initiate a solar project in Mount Abu. We first started with a solar cooking system, I think. You started with the solar cooking process in Mount Abu and Pandav Bhavan. So what I wanted to do with us today is to have a conversation with Golo about his work in energy and the environment, but also about his personal journey in life and how his spirituality has evolved his way of looking at the world and looking into the future. So thank you so much for joining us here on The Next Normal, Golo.
Thanks, Jenna, for having me here today.
It's your first time in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, it's my first time.
You like it?
Oh, it's a bit overwhelming. Yesterday you took us around and all these grand buildings, and I've seen it many times in interviews and in the news. And now being there in person is quite a different story.
Yeah, it's very different when it's the veil of the camera is different than the real living experience. And I think that's what's happening with our planet and our Earth, that I think we see this beautiful image of the Earth from Nassau. But somehow we still disconnect. We're still hurting the planet, polluting the waters, yelling and screaming, releasing bombs on the land, on the people. And the Earth continues to tolerate. But don't you think there'll come a time when the Earth says that's enough and it just purges us all and sends us back to a world of peace and comfort?
That's a big question. Recently I read that the number of earthquakes actually is increasing, and scientists have sort of gathered the facts, and insurance companies are a bit worried. They were exactly asking that question, if Earth is now responding to all the mining, to all the extraction, and to all the drilling, and to all the heavy buildings we are constructing everywhere. And maybe there's a relation between our activity and that increased number of seismic activity around the world. But definitely one of the big problems is the overpopulation. And the limited resources which are on the planet, and we are now touching the limits of our ecosphere, and that's why everything becomes more costly, because there's now a distribution question: who will get which resources, which minerals, and so on. It's also about food, about water, about fresh air, and all these things. And so we have to think really how we are moving forward now.
Are you hopeful about the future?
Yes, I'm very hopeful. Hope gives you a smile on the face. It's good for health, and I really like it to visualize a bright future and a happy ending, so to say, of the sort of crisis we are right now in.
When you speak about the crisis, tell us in detail, what is the crisis? Because Here in Washington, D.C., you see how green it is. It's beautiful. By the way, we have a blue heron on the property, and he's been eating the goldfish. And for some reason, I felt a little kind of sad about that. But then as I was evolving, I said, but that's the ecosystem. That's the way things flourish. The goldfish are producing, they're having more fish, and then the blue heron comes, he eats the fish. I mean, isn't that what the whole journey is about, kind of an ebb and flow?
The goldfish in your pond definitely is not a natural occurrence.
That is true, too.
That's by you. But
it came at the house.
But the heron may be coming naturally. But indeed, the world is in a very dramatic situation right now. We have multiple crises, and scientists, they call it a polycrisis. We have on one side climate change, which is accelerating. And which is now entering into very dangerous territory. We have in climate tipping points and like ice melting and so on, and we have touched certain tipping points, and they are moving into a new state of balance and a new equilibrium, which is very dangerous for our civilization. But we have also a loss of biosphere, animals disappearing, trees are disappearing because of climate change, and of course we have an economic crisis, everybody's aware about that, and we have also an increased number of conflicts around the globe. So it's a polycrisis, it's a global crisis of civilization, which is not new in history. If you look, it happened many times, but this time it's a global crisis. It seems all the problems are coming together and are right in our face at the moment.
Yeah. Now, majority of people aren't as invested in receiving the knowledge that we're at a global crisis, one. Number two, I think emotionally and spiritually, from my experience, we've been a society of people that have focused a lot on just ourselves. And so we're not thinking about caring for the earth. You're having a talk tomorrow at the Meditation Museum, and we focused it on the environment and climate change and all of that. And we noticed the numbers are different. But if we did a program on forgiveness and relationships, there's 5 million people coming, right? What is this disconnect that we have with the responsibility that we carry to take care of our planet?
Well, it's one of the signs of modern life. Most of the people, they live in cities. They're sort of a bit disconnected from nature, and we have the heating, we have the car with air conditioned, and we have the supermarket where we buy things, and we're not really directly involved so much any longer with nature or with the production of food like in old days. So that has created some sort of disconnectedness, because if it's getting too hot, I switch on the AC, or I have the car, I have the heating, supermarket but
let me jump in here. So are you saying that science is not good for us? Because on one level, I don't think that my soul is strong enough to deal and cope with the heat of this time or the winter of this time. Like, I could die from the cold, right? So isn't the science helping me to at least have some sort of a comfort of a kind of a golden age that I deserve as a soul?
Well, of course, science is helping us, technology is helping us, but it comes at a certain price. The price is that modern societies have a very high carbon footprint. If you analyze a little bit the carbon footprint, you see rich societies are way beyond. They have a person in US maybe has 30 tons CO2 emissions per year, and a person in India maybe has 2 tons CO2 emissions per year. So there's a vast difference in the effect and the impact our modern lifestyle has on society. And that's where we really have to think on an individual level, but also on a government level, on a society level, how we can reduce our impact into nature, because, as I mentioned before, we're stretching the limits, the boundaries of our ecosphere, and we're touching in many, many areas the limits, if not gone beyond the limits, and then we have the negative side effects like climate change or environmental pollution, for example, or shortage of certain resources. Fresh water, for example, many areas of the world is scarcity. I just came from India. We have an incredible early heat wave, and the rains are very erratic. So we have to think really how we're treating and interacting with nature, because the future of our civilization is at stake.
So, what do you say to individuals who might carry the mindset, who cares? I've only got one life to live. Let me live it up. If we're all going to die anyway, what's the purpose of trying to save humanity or the planet?
Well, I have a rather altruistic worldview. I try to act in such a way that future generations, they have a place to live. I like to live in harmony with nature. I like to have a lifestyle which is clean. I like a proper nature around me, fresh air, beautiful forest, greenery. I like when the animals are happy. And for example, in India now, it's quite visible in the big cities. We have a lot of air pollution. And we have also a lot of plastic pollution, for example. I just read recently that they analyzed the brain of humans and they found out that we have so far accumulated 6-7 grams of microplastic in our brain. It's a spoonful of microplastic, and they link it to Alzheimer and dementia, which is very, very interesting. So we have to see how much plastic more we want to throw into our environment. And luckily, because of all these questions and considerations, the Brahma Kumaris has created a environment initiative, and we have, for example, a plastic-free initiative. We try to inspire people to use less plastic. We have a travel compensation initiative, and so on. And we're trying to inspire people to fine-tune their lifestyle, and that makes a difference.
Now, before you became a student of the Brahma Kumaris, you were a free-spirited young man, minding your own business, doing your thing, doing carpentry. The last thing in your mind was really thinking about nurturing the environment and growing the environment, so to speak. What was that turning point for you when you came into the Brahma Kumaris path or teaching, and what was it in the teaching of the Brahma Kumaris that popped you open to becoming more of a server for humanity rather than a taker?
Well, right from childhood, I loved nature very much. And
we're so different because I'm such a city one.
No, I was with the Boy Scouts, and we used to go every weekend, and we used to camp, and we did all this stuff with a tent in nature and in the forest. And I also, when I did my apprenticeship as a carpenter, I always liked very much to use natural varnish, natural colors, because they smelled very nice, they touched very nice. And when I used the chemical one, they were really horrible, and you felt bad also afterwards. So I had, right from beginning, I had this love for nature, and I was very much drawn also to be in nature and experience it very closely. So I had this feeling to stay in harmony, to stay tuned with natural cycles and all that. And when I joined the Brahma Kumaris, I learned about my thoughts and about my emotions and feelings, how they have an impact in nature into my actions, and that it is even more important not only act in harmony, but also feel in harmony, stay in harmony emotionally, stay with your mind tuned in harmony with your whole environment around you. And that really made sense to me, and that kept me going all the time.
Wow. So what's your connection with, you focus a lot on thoughts and the planet, thoughts on the earth. You do believe that an accumulation of negative or very angry thoughts can impact the disasters that we're experiencing too?
It's a very interesting question. Since we're going to climate conference almost 20 years, we propagate the connection between my inner world and the outer world, between your mindset, what you think, what you feel, and your actions, which ultimately result then in catastrophe, in human-made catastrophes or not. And I'm very much interested also in science and consciousness, quantum fields, and the reality we're observing all the time. And there are some scientists, they're saying that by observing the world around us, we're shaping it all the time, we're influencing it through our observation, through our emotions, through the vibrations which we are creating. So I'm very much interested in this connection, and I'm trying to harmonize my thoughts, and I'm trying to inspire other people also to do that.
I have been in certain situations where I walk into a space or a room and I can feel the vibrations, like it feels heavy. Where was I? I was visiting, it might have been in India at one time, and you know, being in Mount Abu, it's like heaven, and then you're coming down to the airport and I saw scotch, whiskey, half-naked people and billboards, and I just thought, wow, it was such a different energy than where I came from. And I could see how there are two energies existing currently at the same time. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that spiritually, that there is an energy that has a heaviness to it, and there's an energy that is very subtle and is very light, but that's the continuation of life, or that's the future of our life, but a lot of people can't see it. Can you give us a little insight on that?
Well, what we see right now is an accumulation of karma, of bad karma, also of heavy karma. And we all carry our actions with us from this life, but also from a previous life. It is stored in our energy field, in our aura, and it can be made, sorry, it's the dry air of the wonderful air condition. We can see that in the aura, and it can be measured nowadays. People are not so much aware what they carry around in their subtle energy field, but it is influencing us all the time. Our emotions and our feelings, our happiness, it's all revolving around our energy field. And interestingly, we are all the time communicating on a very subtle energetical level. These are ultra-weak signals. We're all the time sending and we're all the time receiving ultra-weak signals. So we are very much aware how is the other person tuned, and we're very much aware also about nature and about buildings or locations. Sometimes you come in a church or a space and you think, wow, what a wonderful atmosphere, and you like it very much and you say, I want to stay here. Or you make a walk on a mountain and then you stay on top and you say, oh, that's a good place. Let me contemplate or meditate for a moment. And sometimes you come in spots. Sometimes if it's really worse, your hairs may stand up and you may think, oh, what's going on here? Or you meet people, you just think, let me just get out of this situation. That's when you sense that the aura is not comfortable, it's not suitable for you. And interestingly, we are acting most on the time on these subtle signals. They're also related to our subconsciousness, and science tells us that 90% of our decisions are coming from our subconsciousness and not from our rational thinking process. It's always said we are the rational beings, but actually we are acting all on subconscious inputs, which are sort of formed from previous experiences, which we're taking with us all the time. It's quite interesting.
Share with us some points about thought processes that we can apply starting today that can help to make the earth love us some more.
Well, we see at the moment two major forces in the world. One is the force of destruction and pathway of misuse, mishandling nature, environment, is the pathway of conflict, is the pathway of aggression. And we see the other of love and compassion, of happiness, and that's, I call it the pathway of creation. So you can choose which pathway you would like to go. And when you are undergoing a spiritual awakening, you understand that it is your duty to help the light, to help the power of love, and to help the power of creation. Because as per our understanding, and also the understanding in India, majority of the people believe that a new age is coming, a glorious time. Interestingly, in Christianity, we also have a purge, an Armageddon, a transformation, and then a paradise is coming afterwards. And also the Greek, they thought about a cycle of time with the, I think it's the Iron Age, and then comes the Golden Age. And also in Brahma Kumaris, we believe that we're in a transition period right now from an old age which is not sustainable, where karma has been accumulated, to a new age, which is a fresh restart.
Yeah, beautiful. And leave us with one or two thoughts that we can keep practicing on a regular basis.
A very powerful thought I'm lately using is, I draw the light from above and I heal my aura and I send the light into the world. And you repeat this thought as often as you like, especially when you are in a tough moment or there is some difficulty you experience. Then you just say, hang on, let me just relax for a moment and not go in the depth of this negative spiral of thoughts. Let me draw light, let me connect to the light, let me heal myself. It means heal my aura, get rid of my dark trigger points. And we all are aware which are our dark trigger points. And then sort of send this love and light into the world, to decision makers, to scientists, to activists, but also poor people in Africa, in Asia, wherever you are. Take the whole globe, visualize it, and start healing it. Put the light around the world, you know. Mm-hmm. That's a very powerful thought which I'm using since some years in order to bring a positive momentum, bring that shift towards a new paradigm.
Mm. And that goes with you karmically too at a soul level, that if you keep practicing such pure thoughts for others and the planet, it travels with you wherever you, the soul, go. It's very beautiful. Thank you. I'm not quite sure if many of you know, but Golo also was very much of a pioneer and an instrument in really building the sustainability in the environmental area of the Brahma Kumaris. Would like to go to our awakened intelligence to just take a look at some of the achievements of the Brahma Kumaris in the area of environment. So the Brahma Kumaris have made significant contributions to environmental sustainability by integrating spiritual principles with, can you move it up? Practical initiatives. Their efforts encompass renewable energy projects, sustainable agriculture, and active participation. Let's take a look at some of the things that Golo has done. Key environmental achievements. Renewable energy leadership. India won solar thermal plant. It was a big endeavor. Golo Pilz was the man behind it that moved it to the level of completion. Number 2, the solar cooking and heating system, development and installation of large-scale solar steam cooking systems and solar hot water plants across various campuses promoting renewable energy use. Sustainable yogic agriculture, an initiative, an innovative farming approach that combines organic agricultural practice with Raj Yoga meditation. Studies have indicated improvements in crop resilience, seed quality, and soil earth, and the program has received support from the Indian government, leading to its expansion under the Akhil Bharatiya Krishak aiming to empower farmers through spiritual and sustainable farming techniques. The third one is global environmental advocacy, United Nations engagement, active participation in the UN climate change conferences and biodiversity conferences, contributing to discussions on sustainable development and environmental policies. Collaborations, partnerships with organizations like faith plans to encourage faith-based environmental action plans integrating spiritual values and ecological stewardship. Very, very important. And of course, community-based environmental campaigns, tree planting drives. We have the tree of the Om Shanti Peace Tree on Capitol Hill, one on the Pentagon ground, and we have another one at the Archdiocese, but we also have this Kalpataru, which is involved large-scale tree planting activities, fostering a connection between individuals and nature. Awareness campaign programs Clean the Mind, Green the Earth, Save the Earth Planet, which connects to consciousness and sustainable living practices. Integration of spiritual and ecology, Ekoshanti concept, a lifestyle approach that emphasizes inner peace and spiritual awareness as foundation for environment responsibility, encouraging practices like meditation. Educational workshops, conducting workshops and retreats that focus on interconnection between consciousness and the environment, aiming to inspire individuals. So what you all can see, isn't that amazing? You know, I want to bring this to your attention. think about how much is being done in this meditation and spiritual organization. A lot of people come to spirituality and meditation and they just want to get away from the world. They hate the world. They hate people. Not here. We have to be very much involved in the world, in the people, to help the humanity to become a beautiful age for all. Let's take a look at our beautiful Sister Gita effect to end the show today on a high note with the love and the light and the purity of one of our number one angels. Enjoy the Sister Gita effect.
When we have no other support to turn to, we are more easily able to recognize the source of true greatness and the need to connect with that great being, the divine. Have a day full of greatness because we are the greatness. We're just in the wilderness searching for it once again. Om Shanti. Have a great day.
All right, thank you, our sweet Sister Gita. We're going to do a shout out to our community. Shobana, Izana, nice to have you. Another high quality broadcast. Raj, hi, Suman, Pooja. The power of collective meditation is real. Kamal, pure energy is this space right now. Thanks, Kamal. Mukesh Chaudhary, when the mind is quiet, the soul speaks. Tarachand, nice to have you on. The first time I'm meeting you. Angela, what a beautiful interview. Thank you for your work and inspiration. Thanks, Angela. Hi, Usha, Mukesh Bhai, Banu, Dinesh, Shobha Khatri, Om Shanti. See you in New York. We'll be in New York for Earth Day at Times Square on April 22nd between 11 and 4. Tell your friends. Hi, Miriam Lilawati. Sister Jenna, a very powerful message. We all have to be mindful about the planet. Good. Ed Robus, got the time, sending peace to every corner of the earth. Jokes Guru, thanks for another good show. You're welcome. Hi, Annette. Hi, Jackie Woodside. Nice to have you on. Suman Devi, Manmohan, Kailash, Leslie Salt, Nirmala, Anita, D-Rise, everybody, Ebsto. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was really good to have Golo in studio today to talk about the power of our environment and why it's really important for us to care more. Step out of your comfort zones and really, really, I beg you, step up your comfort zones, make some adjustments so that the planet can sustain our future generations. Golo, do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to share with our beautiful community?
First, thanks very much for hosting me on this interesting program, and I would be very happy if clean technology would be used a bit more in the US. I'm trying to help our centers also to go green, to go solar, and it's a very good technology in India. We're building now a big 700 kilowatt system, and we're taking over our campus, put it totally green, environmental friendly, and if a bit more is happening on the private sector in America, I would be very, very happy, and we all can contribute to small steps and make the world a better place.
That is somehow making me to feel like, Santosh, do you have the solar thermal video available? Because if you guys will get a chance to see the brilliance and the work behind what Golo Pilz is sharing, we might be able to bring something like this to the US and imagine building something like this that can we see it? We'll be able, from ground up, take a look at our solar thermal research project here. one of the many things I'm so proud of our brother Golo is this incredible accomplishment, and we thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Give your thanks to the Supreme Being, because I was just in a way the instrument, you know.
Yeah, we know. All right, everyone, thanks so much for joining us today on The Next Normal. Please keep yourselves happy, clear, honest. Keep your intentions simple. Thanks again for joining us. Lots of love, and take care of yourselves. Om Shanti. Bye.